They tell you power is claimed in grand, explosive moments. They lie. Power doesn't collapse with a bang, but with the slow, insidious decay of inconsistency. Weak men break promises to themselves. They start, they stop, they drift, they fall. Their lives are brief, desperate flashes of fleeting motivation, shallow inspiration. Then they dissolve back into the faceless masses. Machiavelli saw this brutal truth. Fortune doesn't bow to the gifted or the lucky. She bows to the relentless. The man who shows up every damn day, who forces himself to be consistent. No matter how his spirit aches, no matter how the world conspires against him, that man wins. He carves his will into the stone of existence. Consistency isn't glamorous. It's not a rush. It's brutal repetition. It's sacrifice. It's dragging yourself forward when your mind screams for comfort, for surrender. That is why most men fail. They crave ease more than they crave power. They chase comfort more than greatness. And they pay for that weakness with their lives. But you clicked on this for a reason. You are here for something more. You are here to become untouchable. And that journey begins with the ruthless, unforgiving law of consistency. Claim this truth. Type "consistency is my weapon" in the comments below. Write it, etch it into your identity, because it is the only weapon that will never betray you. Think about it. A man who trains his body when he feels like it becomes nothing. The man who trains daily, even in the smallest increments, becomes iron. A man who studies only when inspiration strikes learns nothing deep. The man who studies relentlessly, day after day, sharpens his mind into a blade. A man who works only in good moods stays poor. A man who works with unwavering discipline builds an empire. Everything bends for the consistent man. Fortune seeks him. Opportunities find him. Enemies crumble before him. Not because he was born superior, but because he refused to quit. Because he forced himself to rise again and again and again, until the world had no choice but to bow. Machiavelli, the brutal architect of power, knew this. The prince who maintains discipline in peace will triumph in war. The man who forges his habits in silence will dominate in chaos. The ruler who is consistent when no one is watching will command when everyone is watching. That is the hidden law of power. Your feelings, they will betray you. Motivation, it will abandon you. Inspiration, it will die. But consistency will carry you through the fire. Consistency will make you unstoppable. Consistency will crown you with mastery. Declare it. Type "I rise every day" without excuse in the comments now. Make it your oath, because this is the first law you must engrave into your very blood. Force yourself to be consistent, and everything else falls into place. Without it, you are nothing. With it, you are inevitable. Part 2. The death of excuses. Excuses are the language of slaves. Men chained to weakness always have their reasons. I'm tired. I don't feel like it. I'll start tomorrow. Every excuse is a leash wrapped around their neck, held tight by fear, laziness, and the poison of mediocrity. They believe they are free, but they are owned. Machiavelli understood that men reveal their true nature in their actions, not their words. An excuse is nothing more than living proof of a broken will. And a man with a broken will is already conquered by himself. If you want power, if you crave mastery, if you demand life bend to your command, you must kill excuses. All of them. Tear them out at the root. Treat them like the traitors they are. They whisper comfort. They promise ease. But they deliver only decay. Claim your freedom. Type "excuses die." I remain in the comments. Write it now. Etch it into your identity. Do you think discipline is about feelings? It isn't. Discipline is about command. It's about saying, I do it because I said I would. I do it because it must be done. I do it because weakness disgusts me. That is the Machiavellian way. That is the only way. The man who makes excuses is a puppet, yanked by every mood, every distraction, every fleeting desire. The man who kills excuses becomes his own ruler. He is feared because nothing stops him, not fatigue, not failure, not resistance. He cannot be bribed by comfort, slowed by doubt, or bought with pleasure. He moves forward, regardless. Understand this. The world does not care about your excuses. Your enemies do not care. Fortune does not care. Excuses will not build your empire. Excuses will not sharpen your mind. Excuses will not save you. Only relentless action will. From this day forward, whenever an excuse whispers in your mind, crush it. Replace it with command. Replace it with force. Replace it with the cold truth. I will, because I must. Declare it again. Type no excuses. Only power in the comments. Burn this into your blood, because until you kill excuses, you will remain ordinary. But once you bury them forever, you rise beyond ordinary. You rise toward power. Part 3. The Fortress of Daily Rituals. Discipline without structure collapses. A man who relies on random bursts of effort will never last. But the man who forges rituals, unyielding daily routines, builds a fortress around himself. A fortress that no storm, no distraction, no weakness can ever break. Machiavelli knew that order sustains power. Chaos destroys it. A ruler who fails to maintain structure loses control. The same applies to you. Without daily rituals, you are ruled by chance. With them, you rule yourself. Claim your dominion. Type my rituals are my fortress in the comments. Declare it now, because your routines must become walls no enemy can climb. Think of it this way. Each day is a battlefield. Weak men step onto it, unarmed, wandering aimlessly. They waste time. They bleed energy. But you walk into battle with weapons sharpened. Your rituals. You rise at a set time. You train your body. You sharpen your mind. You discipline your actions day after day. The same. Until these rituals are not choices, they are commands etched into your blood. Consistency is built here, not in fleeting motivation, not in fickle moods, but in ritual, in structure, in the cold, unyielding repetition of daily action. It may feel boring, it may feel brutal, but boredom is the price of mastery. Brutality is the cost of greatness. Machiavelli would remind you, men respect what is consistent. They trust what is unshakable. A ruler who shifts like the wind is despised. A ruler who is constant commands loyalty and fear. The same law shapes your life. Your rituals must make you steady, unchanging, inevitable. Declare it again. Type my habits make me unbreakable in the comments. Write it, because habits forge destiny. Build your fortress, brick by brick. One ritual for your body. One ritual for your mind. One ritual for your discipline. Guard them fiercely. Defend them ruthlessly. Break them for nothing. Because once you lose your rituals, you lose your fortress. And once you lose your fortress, you lose yourself. Part 4. Pain as the teacher of consistency. Weak men avoid pain. Strong men endure it. But the untouchable man, he uses it. Pain is the most honest teacher you will ever have. It strips away illusions. It burns away weakness. It exposes exactly where you are fragile. Most men run from it. They seek comfort, distraction, pleasure, anything to silence pain's brutal voice. But Machiavelli would tell you, the man who flees pain flees power, because pain is not your enemy. Pain is your tutor. Consistency and pain are married. You cannot build discipline without suffering. Waking early when your body screams for sleep. Training when your muscles ache. Working when your mind begs for rest. Every act of consistency requires defiance against comfort, and that defiance hurts. But it is that very hurt that carves strength into your bones. Claim your tutor. Type "pain builds me" in the comments. Write it. Seal it into your identity, because the weak will never dare to say it. Think of soldiers hardened by war. They are not stronger because they avoided pain. They are stronger because they lived in it. They carried it daily until it no longer broke them. It built them. The same is true for you. If you want iron discipline, you must bleed for it. If you want relentless consistency, you must suffer for it. Pain sharpens focus. Comfort dulls it. Pain hardens resolve. Comfort dissolves it. Pain whispers, "You can't." Consistency replies, "Watch me." This is how men are forged. Not in moments of ease, but in seasons of hardship. Machiavelli warned that fortune favors the prepared, and preparation requires suffering. If you collapse when tested, you lose. If you rise through pain, you become untouchable. The prince who softens in luxury will be destroyed in crisis. The man who softens in comfort will be destroyed in life. But the one who embraces pain becomes unbreakable. Declare it again. Type "I turn pain into power" in the comments. Because that is exactly what must happen. Every insult, every failure, every rejection, every betrayal, it is all fuel. Most men waste it. You will weaponize it. You will use it to force yourself to remain consistent, even when every fiber of your being wants to quit. Understand this: pain never lasts, but the strength it builds lasts forever. The weak man suffers once and runs. The strong man suffers endlessly and grows. The untouchable man, he learns to love pain, because he knows every sting is another brick in his fortress. Every wound, another scar of mastery. Every hardship, another step toward power. Consistency without pain is fantasy. Consistency with pain is reality. And reality always crowns the man who suffers with discipline. Part 5. Breaking the chains of comfort. Comfort is the silent assassin of greatness. It doesn't strike like a sword. It doesn't roar like an enemy. It whispers. It seduces. It convinces you that you've done enough, that you've earned a break, that you deserve ease. And slowly, without resistance, it kills your discipline. It suffocates your ambition. It rots your strength from within. Machiavelli knew this truth. Men soften in luxury. Leaders collapse when they trust pleasure more than discipline. A prince who indulges too much loses the loyalty of his people because his softness invites contempt. The same law rules your life. If you submit to comfort, you become weak. If you depend on ease, you lose your edge. If you worship convenience, you sell your crown for crumbs. Name your enemy. Type "comfort is my enemy" in the comments. Write it. Declare it. Because only when you name the enemy can you destroy it. Look around. How many men are slaves to comfort? They sleep late. They binge endlessly. They consume more than they create. They choose softness over strength. And then they wonder why they have no power, no respect, no control. They traded their empire for a pillow, their destiny for distraction, their throne for a couch. But you must be different. You must see comfort for what it is, a chain. A chain that looks harmless, even pleasant. But every time you choose ease over effort, the chain tightens. Every time you choose distraction over discipline, the chain locks. Every time you choose indulgence over improvement, the chain drags you down. Until one day, you look in the mirror and realize you are owned. Machiavelli would remind you, fortune smiles on the bold, not the soft. Boldness requires effort. Power requires suffering. Discipline requires sacrifice. Comfort gives you none of these. Comfort gives you only weakness, dressed as pleasure. And weakness is the one thing the world punishes without mercy. Break free. Type "I break the chains of comfort" in the comments. Seal it into your mind, because that is exactly what must happen. How do you break free? By defiance, by rebellion, by force. When comfort calls, you refuse. When ease tempts, you resist. When distraction whispers, you ignore. Each act of defiance is a broken link. Each act of resistance is a shattered chain. Each act of discipline is a declaration. I will not kneel. The path will hurt. It must hurt. You will crave the ease of others. You will see them indulge, laugh, waste time, and you will feel the pull. But remember this, the world never remembers the comfortable. The world only remembers the disciplined, the conquerors, the rulers, the ones who embraced struggle while others drowned in softness. Comfort will make you common. Discipline will make you rare. Consistency will make you inevitable. That is why you must hate comfort, distrust ease, and destroy the chains before they destroy you. Everything you want, power, respect, mastery, freedom, sits on the far side of comfort, and only those who break the chains will reach it. Part 6. The cold power of focus. Discipline without focus is wasted energy. You can wake early. You can train hard. You can work long hours. But if your energy is scattered, if your mind is distracted, you gain nothing. You burn yourself out without progress. You look busy, but you remain powerless. Focus is the blade that turns raw effort into lethal precision. Machiavelli understood this principle. He warned rulers that divided attention leads to downfall. A prince who tries to fight every enemy fights none effectively. A man who pursues every opportunity gains none. The same law commands your life. If you scatter your mind, you remain weak. If you direct your mind, you become unstoppable. Claim your weapon. Type "focus is my power" in the comments. Declare it, because until you commit, your strength remains diluted. Look at weak men. They chase every distraction. Their phones rule them. Their desires pull them in 100 directions. They start one goal, then abandon it for another. They live as slaves to novelty, always beginning, never finishing. They drown in half-completed dreams. And so, they stay ordinary. But the man of focus is different. He knows exactly what he wants. He chooses one mission, one target, one throne, and he drives toward it relentlessly. He shuts out noise. He ignores temptation. He silences distraction. His mind is a spear, sharp and direct, piercing through every obstacle. Machiavelli would remind you, appearances deceive, but results reveal. The focused man produces results. The distracted man produces excuses. Which will you be? Sharpen your mind. Type "my mind is a spear" in the comments. Etch it into yourself, because your focus must strike like a weapon. Focus requires sacrifice. To focus is to kill distractions, to kill temptations, to kill the urge to scatter your energy. Every maybe must die. Every what if must die. Every soft whisper of indulgence must die. Only then can your mind lock onto the path with cold, ruthless clarity. Understand this. You cannot serve two masters. You cannot chase comfort and power. You cannot pursue 100 goals and expect mastery. You must choose. The world bends to the man who knows exactly what he wants and refuses everything else. This is why focus terrifies people. A man who cannot be distracted is dangerous. He cannot be manipulated by pleasure. He cannot be swayed by fear. He cannot be bribed by attention. He walks a straight path while others wander in circles. And slowly, his consistency builds momentum until he becomes inevitable. The weak will laugh at you. They will call you obsessed, rigid, extreme. But obsession is only discipline with direction. Rigidity is only loyalty to your mission. Extremity is only what the soft call commitment. Ignore their words. Their mockery is proof you are on the right path. Claim your solitude. Type "nothing breaks my focus" in the comments. Make it your battle cry. Machiavelli taught that fortune favors those who prepare with clarity. Focus is that clarity. Without it, you are a pawn. With it, you are a strategist, moving with precision while others stumble. Consistency is the body. Focus is the weapon. Together, they make you lethal. Guard your focus like a fortress. Protect it from thieves, social media, meaningless entertainment, shallow desires. Every theft weakens you. Every stolen minute is stolen power. Refuse to give it away. Train your mind to lock in and hold steady, no matter the chaos around you. Because once you master focus, your path becomes simple. See the target. Move toward it. Never stop. While the world chases noise, you chase victory. And eventually, you catch it. Part 7. Building the discipline engine. Consistency begins with effort. But mastery begins with automation. At first, discipline feels like war. Every action is a battle against yourself. Every step requires force. Every decision drags you into conflict with your weaker nature. But if you endure long enough, something extraordinary happens. The battles fade, the resistance weakens, and your discipline transforms into an engine. Cold, relentless, unstoppable. Machiavelli taught that power is built not on single victories, but on systems that sustain victories. A ruler who relies only on chance battles will eventually fall. But the one who builds structure, routine, and the machinery of control will last forever. That is your mission, to build your own discipline engine. Claim your power. Type "my habits are my engine" in the comments. Write it, because habits once forged will carry you when motivation dies. The engine begins with small gears, your daily rituals. Wake at the same time. Done. Train at the same hour. Work at the same pace. Study without fail. These are not random acts. They are gears turning together. At first, you must crank them manually. It feels heavy. It feels exhausting. But over time, the gears catch. Momentum builds. And soon the engine roars on its own. Think of it like this. The man who works only when inspired must fight 100 battles. The man who builds a discipline engine fights once, at the beginning, and wins forever. His actions become automatic. His habits move without thought. His willpower is no longer wasted on deciding. His system carries him forward. Machiavelli would remind you, men are creatures of habit, whether they know it or not. The weak man is enslaved by habits of weakness, late nights, wasted hours, endless distraction. The powerful man enslaves himself to habits of strength, early rising, relentless work, cold focus. Both are slaves. The only question is, will you serve weakness or will you serve greatness? Choose your master. Type "I serve greatness" in the comments. Seal it now, because your engine will serve whichever master you choose. The discipline engine is ruthless. It does not care about feelings. It does not bend to moods. It does not wait for motivation. It executes, cold, mechanical, relentless. And this is its power. Because once built, it does not stop. While others hesitate, you move. While others collapse, you endure. While others chase comfort, you build empires. But know this, building the engine is brutal. The gears will resist at first. You will crave comfort. You will hear the excuses. You will feel the pull of weakness. This is the testing ground. Most men quit here. They give up before the engine catches. They never taste the power of automatic discipline. But if you endure, if you force consistency through the resistance, you will cross a line. And on the other side, everything becomes easier. Not because life changes, but because you do. Machiavelli's law is clear. Fortune rewards the prepared, the structured, the disciplined. The engine makes you all three. It gives you endurance. It gives you momentum. It gives you inevitability. You become a machine of your own will, moving forward regardless of storms. Own it. Type, I am the engine in the comments. Write it. Own it. Become it. Because once the discipline engine is built, nothing can stop you. Not moods, not distractions, not pain, not failure. Your habits carry you. Your system sustains you. Your engine drives you. And when everything else collapses, when men crumble, when rulers fall, when fortune shifts, you remain cold, relentless, consistent. That is how you force yourself into consistency until consistency forces the world to bend to you. That is the Machiavellian way. Part 8. The Shadow of Reputation. Your reputation is your shadow. It walks ahead of you. It lingers after you. It speaks when you say nothing. Machiavelli knew that men judge more by appearances than by truth. They cannot see your discipline when you wake before dawn. They cannot feel your pain as you grind in silence. They cannot measure the battles you fight with yourself every day. What they see is your reputation, and that decides how they treat you. Claim your weapon. Type my reputation is my weapon in the comments, because it is. A weak man's reputation betrays him. If he always quits, people know him as unreliable. If he always reacts, people know him as unstable. If he always indulges, people know him as soft. The world reads him like an open book and discards him. But the disciplined man, his consistency writes a different story. His silence becomes a warning. His presence becomes a signal. People feel his strength before he even speaks. Reputation is leverage. It saves you effort. The man who has no reputation must fight for respect every day. The man with a strong shadow doesn't need to prove himself. Others already assume his strength. They hesitate. They second guess. They break themselves before they ever face him. Machiavelli warned rulers, never let your reputation crack. Because once it shatters, respect vanishes. The same law applies to you. Your rituals, your focus, your rejection of excuses and comfort, all of it is fuel for your shadow. Every act of consistency hardens your reputation. Every failure to remain disciplined weakens it. Fortify your image. Type my consistency builds my shadow in the comments. Write it, because this is where power multiplies. Think of reputation as a silent army. It goes where you cannot. It works while you rest. It influences even in your absence. The disciplined man doesn't need to shout. His name does the work. The disciplined man doesn't need to beg. His shadow commands respect. But reputation is fragile. One careless act, one display of weakness, one moment of surrender, and your shadow cracks. People remember weakness far more than strength. That is why consistency is non-negotiable. Discipline is not just for you. It is for the image others carry of you. Machiavelli would tell you, it is not enough to be strong. You must appear strong. It is not enough to be disciplined. You must radiate discipline. Appearances rule men. Use this law, or be ruled by it. Project your truth. Type I project strength in the comments. Etch it into yourself, because in the end, your reputation will either serve as your fortress or your executioner. Guard it. Build it. Weaponize it. Let your consistency cast a shadow so heavy, so unshakable, that the world bows to it before you ever raise a hand. Part 9. The crown of mastery. Discipline is the throne. Consistency is the crown. Every battle you fought against excuses, against comfort, against distraction, against weakness leads here to mastery. The final stage, the level few ever reach. And it is here where the world divides men into the ruled and the rulers. Machiavelli understood this perfectly. He warned that fortune bends only to those who prepare, only to those who endure, only to those who do not break. That is mastery, not skill, not talent, not even intelligence. Mastery is endurance perfected. It is discipline engraved into the bones until it becomes your identity. Claim your destiny. Type "I claim the crown of mastery" in the comments. Write it as your oath, because only those who declare it with conviction will dare to chase it. What is mastery? It is the point where consistency is no longer forced. It is natural, where your habits move without thought, where your discipline is instinct. Where others struggle to start, you are already in motion. Where others collapse, you remain steady. Where others crave comfort, you crave control. Mastery is when you no longer negotiate with yourself, because the weaker self is dead. But understand this, mastery is not permanent. The crown is not welded to your head. It must be earned again and again. Each day you polish it with repetition. Each day you defend it against temptation. Each day you renew your rule over yourself. The moment you relax, the crown slips. The moment you grow soft, the crown shatters. Mastery demands vigilance, eternal, relentless. Machiavelli would remind you, rulers fall not because enemies grow stronger, but because they themselves grow weaker. The same fate stalks you. Do not believe mastery makes you invincible. Believe mastery makes you responsible. For the higher you rise, the harder you must defend your throne. Defend your reign. Type "I defend my crown" daily in the comments. Declare it, because mastery without defense is illusion. Look at the masses. They live without mastery. They wake when the world tells them. They work when forced. They quit when tired. Their lives are ruled by moods, by cravings, by outside control. They are peasants in their own kingdom, slaves to impulses. Then look at the few who wear the crown. Their time is theirs. Their will is theirs. Their emotions obey them. They command themselves, and so they command the world. This is why mastery is feared. A man who rules himself cannot be manipulated. He cannot be bribed with comfort. He cannot be broken by pain. He cannot be distracted by chaos. He is steady, cold, and inevitable, and the world bends to inevitability. Machiavelli said, "It is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both." Mastery earns you both. Feared because you cannot be shaken. Loved because you inspire those too weak to follow your path. Respected because even enemies recognize your strength. This is the aura of the crowned man. But mastery is lonely. Do not expect applause. Do not expect understanding. Most will mock you. They will call you extreme. They will call you obsessed. They will call you cold. Accept this, because their weakness cannot comprehend your rule. And their mockery is proof that your crown gleams too brightly for their eyes. Rise above. Type "I rise above the masses" in the comments. Write it now, because that is exactly what mastery demands. That you stand alone while others kneel to comfort. The crown of mastery is invisible, but undeniable. People sense it. They see it in your steadiness. They hear it in your words. They feel it in your silence. The crown radiates, not through noise, but through presence. And once you wear it, you no longer chase power. Power chases you. But here is the final warning. The crown is heavy. It will test you every day. It will demand sacrifice. It will demand vigilance. It will demand the death of weakness, again and again. Most men will drop it. They will lay it aside and crawl back into mediocrity. But you must not. Because once you have tasted mastery, once you have ruled yourself, anything less is slavery. This is the Machiavellian law. The man who cannot master himself will be mastered by others. But the man who crowns himself through discipline, who defends his mastery with consistency, he rules, even if he rules nothing else, because self-mastery is the foundation of all power. So, take the crown, defend it, live it. Let your life itself be proof that mastery is possible, but only for those ruthless enough to demand it from themselves. And when others look at you, let them see not just a man, but a ruler. A ruler who wears the only crown that matters, the crown of mastery. Part 10. The final command. This is the end, and the beginning. You've heard the laws. You've walked through the shadows. You've been handed the weapons, discipline, pain, focus, reputation, mastery. And now there is nothing left but the command to act, the command to live what you've heard, the command to make yourself untouchable. Machiavelli taught that fortune bows only to those who rule themselves first. This is the law you cannot escape. Either you command yourself, or you are commanded by weakness. Either you build your throne, or you kneel at the feet of others. Either you live with discipline, or you die with regret. Make your oath. Type "I command myself without mercy" in the comments. Write it, because this is the oath. This is the contract. This is the line between the strong and the broken. Most men will never cross it. They will listen, nod, feel a spark of inspiration, and then return to their chains. They will drown in comfort. They will chase distraction. They will excuse their weakness. They will live as slaves, never rulers. And when their lives end, they will leave nothing but dust. You cannot be like them. You must be different. You must be ruthless. You must force consistency until it becomes your nature. You must wear the crown of mastery and never let it slip. You must break the chains of comfort, burn the excuses, and sharpen your focus until it cuts through every distraction. Because this is the truth. No one will save you. No one will hand you discipline. No one will build your empire for you. You are alone in this war. But that is exactly why you can win. Because the moment you accept that no one is coming, the moment you take full responsibility, you gain absolute power over yourself. Machiavelli would remind you, power is perception. And the greatest perception is the one you create of yourself. Become the man who cannot be broken. Become the man who does not react. Become the man who moves forward, regardless of storms. And the world will bend to that perception. They will call you unstoppable because you are. Declare your truth. Type "I am inevitable" in the comments. Write it now. Make it your seal, because inevitability is what the disciplined man becomes. But listen carefully. Inevitability is not given. It is built, brick by brick, day by day, repetition by repetition. Your rituals are the bricks. Your habits are the mortar. Your silence is the foundation. And your consistency is the weight that holds it all together. Build it slowly, coldly, relentlessly. And one day you will look around and realize you've become the fortress. The storm no longer shakes you. You shake the storm. Do not expect applause. Do not expect understanding. The masses will mock you because they fear what they cannot do. They will try to tempt you because your discipline exposes their weakness. They will hate you because your crown shines where theirs is empty. Accept it. Use it. Let their envy remind you of your superiority. Machiavelli warned that it is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both. But when you reach true mastery, you will become both. Feared because no one can move you. Loved because even your enemies will respect your power. Admired because you embody what others only dream of. This is the paradox of the untouchable man. He is cold, ruthless, disciplined, and yet he becomes the standard by which others measure themselves. Rise above all. Type a rise above all weakness in the comments. Etch it into your mind, because that is the final truth. The weak will always outnumber the strong, but one ruler is worth more than 1,000 slaves. And now comes your choice. You can close this video and remain who you are, or you can take the final command and become who you must be. There is no middle ground. The crown of mastery does not rest on half measures. It rests only on total commitment. So I command you, begin today. Rise earlier. Train harder. Focus deeper. Build your fortress brick by brick. Crush every excuse. Reject every comfort. Silence every distraction. Turn every pain into fuel. And above all, be consistent. Force yourself into discipline until discipline becomes your blood. Do this, and everything will fall into place. Power, respect, mastery, inevitability. This is not motivation. This is not inspiration. This is a call to war. The war within yourself. And if you win that war, no external enemy will ever defeat you again. Make your final declaration. Type, I am untouchable in the comments. Let it be the last thing you write today. Let it echo as your declaration. And when you've done that, like this video, subscribe to Mental Fort. Turn on notifications, because this is not the end. This is training. Every week, you will sharpen your mind, strengthen your fortress, and rise higher. This is where weakness dies and rulers are born. Remember, weak men react. Strong men endure. But only the disciplined, only the consistent, only the Machiavellian become untouchable. That is the final command. Take it. Live it. Rule yourself. And the world will follow.